Welcome to the Miniatures Papers. Today I'm going to talk about how I use my smart device in my hobbying. So recently I downloaded the Citadel Paint app, which I'll bring that up right here. And I was looking through it, and it's really a nice resource in order for me to use when it comes to modeling. And I was watching Mr. Vince Venturola, and he had a topic of the week, how I use my smart device in my hobby. So I figured, so I want to talk a little bit about, or chime in with Uncle Adam's first video about augmented reality, AR, and how the smartphone is revolutionizing our game and our hobby. And he has a great valid point that someone who has, the hard sell, who doesn't like the hobbying, who is into, let's say, the Magic player crowd, where you buy a product, you use the product and have fun with the product, you put the product away, and that's it. As to where our hobby is, you buy the product, you clip it off the sprue, you prime it, you find different ways in order to enhance your painting, you paint it to the level that you're satisfied with, then you base it, then you put it onto the base, you use the correct glues and everything else, then you get it onto, then you transport it, you get it onto the table, and then you clean up afterwards and put it back, and hopefully it doesn't break on you. That's a lot. And a lot of people aren't willing to do all that just for the enjoyment of the game. And for those people who are not into that aspect of it, there is that augmented reality, just like that Pokemon kind of, you're seeing the world around you, but superimposed, you have your miniatures or whatever it is that you want to put in front of there. I think that's taking the phone to the next level. But right now, how I use this amazing tool is, first, research. So let's say I'm approaching a project and I really don't know too much about it. The best way in order to get an idea or a feel of what colors I should use and where and how I should approach things is to look at other people's work. Now, I check out Pinterest and I look up, whatever topic. At this point, I was doing my Space Wolves, which are coming along very nicely. And I'm going to have a video out from a paint and chat, start to finish. And I looked up Space Wolves on Pinterest, and it came up with a lot of great paint jobs, stuff that inspired me, color schemes that inspired me, things that I'd want to aspire to create. Also, going on to your search engine, I use Google, and I type in Space Wolves and pictures and professionally painted, and I check out those things as well. Again, using pictures as inspiration to drive what you're painting. So that's the first thing I use my smartphone for. Second is learning and pushing my craft. So I go on YouTube and I watch videos of people painting or going through the process of building some of the models that I have on my table. And I say, well, gee, that's a great concept. I like that one from this video, and I like the concept from the other video that I'm going to apply to mine too. And I'm going to switch up the colors because I don't like the color scheme that they chose, but I have so many different kind of paints that I can use and different paint ranges that, I'll just play around with what I have. And in doing so, I achieve, my own unique kind of results. So tutorials are an ultimate resource for me when it comes to hobbying, or especially doing something that I've never done before and pushing my limits. And if you want to grow as a hobbyist or a painter, you want to keep pushing your limits to the next level, or you'll never achieve the next level if you're just content with what you have, if that is your goal. Another tool that I use the smartphone for is that I'll take a picture of my work and then I'll analyze the picture for errors, because when I take a picture of a work, I know at the end result, if I ever post my work online to social media or any kind of website that the picture is what they're going to see, and that's their only reference. So some people say, well, it looks different in person. Yeah, that's true. It does look different in person, but you know what other people are going to see from your work when you post it online. So take a picture of it and analyze the picture. You might see some errors you didn't catch while looking at it, when it's close to your face. Another thing that I like to use are black and white photos. What I mean is, if I ever wanted to know where a shadow might be, if I'm doing single source lighting or, in any direction, whether it's zenithal from the top or from signing from an object source, what I do is I take a small light, and I shine it on the picture, right? I fix the light to something, so it's shining on that picture, and I take a picture of the miniature. That light is going to cast a lot of different shadows, and it's going to show you where the highlights are. To make that more pronounced, go to your features on your phone, on your editing software when it comes to pictures, and turn that picture into black and white. You want to make it as high contrast as you possibly can. So this way you see the grayscales and the steps, and you really get to see where the deepest shadows are and the highest highlights are, and the gradient in between by doing that. So that's something I definitely use as a tool to know where I should place my shadows, because I've never studied light to the extent that a lot of people have. So, it's difficult for me to conceptualize where the light's going to be. I need that hard reference at the moment. Maybe if I keep practicing, I won't need the reference anymore, but it definitely helps me out. On another topic, while I'm hobbying. Let's say I'm hobbying for, a couple of hours. Well, my stamina might be great, but nothing's motivating me to stay except for myself and my ability to paint, which for the most part keeps me engaged. However, there are times where motivation isn't as high. And in those instances, I listen to podcasts. Personally, I listen to Drunks and Dragons, and I listen to This American Life. I really like those two. You can listen to many, many others. There are many Warhammer-related ones as well that you can listen to. But these two, they produce regularly, and the stories I find interesting enough to keep me going and push me to the next level. So let's say I'm a little tired of painting, and it's been hour 10 or whatever. I don't know, probably not 10, but hour 4 or 5, and I'm starting to wear down. Something in the story or something funny happened, makes me laugh, reinvigorates me, and before you know it, I'm continuing on and pushing through to the next level and getting my projects done, which is ultimately the goal. Fight against that gray, take those models and turn them into something that's lively and nice. And that is it. That is the end goal when you're coming to this hobby, is taking something from plastic and bringing it to life the best way you can. And of course, when I don't have a podcast to listen to, or if I need something for a change from a podcast, I watch YouTube. And I watch other content creators, come up with conversations and painting tutorials, Q&As, Warhammer Weekly. I really do listen to a variety of things. Luke APS off the top of my head. Paper Cuts. I love Paper Cuts. I love Cujo painting. I love a lot of different lists. And you can check all my likes. I believe I put them publicly. You can check what I like as far as YouTube channels and other content creators. They're on a list, and you can check that out. Another thing I use my smart device for is to reach out. So let's say I have a question that I don't have answered, and I look through the resources, I look through the websites, I checked out all the references, and I'm not coming up with the answer. But maybe I just need an opinion. Well, what I do is I reach out to these content creators, these artists that have been doing it for years and that are more talented than I, and I ask them questions. Well, how do you do this? I personally think that model right there helps support the community and helps each other. And that's why I want to come up and tell you, as a resource, I use Painters Motivating Painters. Now, this resource is invaluable because you have a lot of people on that journey scale right there. Some that you can help and see that, oh wow, I made that mistake last time I painted my miniature, and I see that you're kind of making the same kind of, you're having the same kind of results. What are you doing to achieve that result? Or, wow, that was an amazing job. What did you do to achieve that result? Either way, on the spectrum, you're learning, you're growing, and you're helping others. And that community is a community where you just post your pictures and you get positive feedback, encouraging feedback to help you push you to that next level. And that's important because you don't want to remain stagnant no matter what you do, whether it's miniature painting or it's joining a football league or lacrosse or whatever it is that you're doing. You always want to be able to take positive criticism to push you to the next level and get better at what it is that you're doing. So reaching out to artists, not only in Painters Motivating Painters, but sometimes I reach out to YouTubers, and sometimes I reach out to the people that I look at and watch their video tutorials for clarification on something that they've done. And everyone that I've contacted has contacted me back. Everyone that I followed on social media has accepted friend requests and stuff like that. And I really try not to be, annoying. I'm not promoting that you're constantly harping on these things. But if you have just one question and reach out, there are different ways through social media, through YouTube. There are multiple ways through websites. There are multiple ways in which you can contact these people and just ask a question. Hey, I'm trying to do this and it's not working the way I thought it would. How did you do it? And how can I replicate that? And how can I incorporate it into my own style? And that's important. That part is important because you're not doing exactly the same thing as the other person. Now, at first, I'll copy it exactly the way it's done, but I'm my own person, so I kind of have my own style of doing things and say, well, maybe I don't like that step in color. I want to change the color up with this. I have the technique. I'm going to make it my own and do and incorporate it into my skill set to create what it is that I need to create. Because this is an art. Everybody has their own way of doing things that works for them. And you need just to find what works for you. And in that journey, using a cell phone and contacting people helps you develop your own style. This right here, this smart device, it can be a hindrance by distracting you, or it could be the best tool in your toolbox for pushing you to the next level of painting. And it's up to you to decide how you use it. Okay? With a great power comes great responsibility. So I hope you use this to help you in your hobby journey. Thank you, Vince, for the topic of the week. And I'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.